It's Saturday. I'm going live. I'm live. And, oh, drink. NA. So, hey, you guys know why I'm here? For those of you who may not know what I do, those of you who may or may not come in who are new and don't know what I do, I go live every Saturday. And if my voice sounds a bit on the bad side, it's because I may or may not be starting to get a little something. Don't know if it's a flu or whatever, but my voice is not 100%, and not what it usually would be. So I'm just gonna say sorry in advance if any of you guys hear me and you feel like my voice is strange at the moment. But yeah, I'm still going live doing a wrestling week in review. I talk about wrestling, the week shows, or at least you could say the main shows for each and every week, like Monday Night Raw, Tuesday NXT, AW Dynamite, and Friday Night SmackDown. Those are the shows that I cover, and that's all I do. I don't do TNA because even though I watch TNA every now and then, I just don't really think it's something that I like to review because that would just take up so much more time than I have if I were to do that as well. So, hey, let's get on with the show. I'm sure people will come in eventually, but hey, it is what it is. Let's get started with Monday Night Raw. Started out with Jey Uso. Jey Uso won. For those of you who don't know, the Royal Rumble pay-per-view premium live event was this past weekend, and Jey Uso in a shocker that I did not expect. Jey Uso won the men's Royal Rumble match. I was not expecting it. I was, like a lot of people, I was expecting either CM Punk or John Cena. Those were my two top picks. I didn't know who, but I just thought it might be one of them. But then also considering how much Punk was like talking all the all that time that CM Punk was basically just telling everybody on W television like I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna choose. And then and then that promo exchange with Cody Rhodes where he said I'm gonna choose you, Rhodes, and whatnot. He was talking so much about winning the Royal Rumble that he basically talked himself out of winning the Rumble. So I actually should have known that he wasn't gonna win, just from the fact that he kept saying it. He kept saying he was gonna win, and he wouldn't shut up about it. So I should have known that was our way, WWE's subtle way of saying, you know what, Punk, you're actually not winning the Royal Rumble. Why? Because you keep talking about it. Because you keep talking about it. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I like Jey. I just wasn't expecting it. That's all I'm gonna say. Is that I was not expecting a Jey Uso win at the Royal Rumble. But yes, he started the show off. Oh, and just so you guys know, I'm gonna try, very much try this time around, to keep this live stream to a minimum of an hour and 10 minutes. I don't know if I can do it because of the distractions that usually get to me, but I'm gonna try to keep this live stream within a time frame of an hour and 10 minutes. Jey Uso, as I said, he opened the show. He had a lot to say about winning the Royal Rumble, and I know for fact that there were several, if not tens of thousands of people online that were like, Jey Uso should not have won the Royal Rumble. Someone else should have won, like CM Punk or John Cena. And I'm like, dude, this guy is probably the most over babyface on the entire roster, next to Cody Rhodes, or CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Those are the only other three superstars I could say that are as over as he is, if not more. But Roman Reigns was never going to win the Royal Rumble. His being in the Rumble was never about winning it. It was probably about setting up a future program with somebody in the Rumble match, which is usually what happens. They usually Royal Rumble matches are known to tease future programs with certain superstars, like it apparently did with Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Although that seems like that was a bit of a jumbled up mess that didn't need to happen, because apparently Drew McIntyre was eliminated far too earlier than he was expected to be. And apparently some people are complaining that LA Knight had to get some quote unquote spots in on Logan Paul, because we all know that they don't really like each other. But hey, I'm happy Jey Uso won. And if Jey Uso's presentation on the Raw after the Royal Rumble was any indication, then I think it's pretty clear coming out of Monday Night Raw and coming out of Friday Night SmackDown last night that I think it's pretty clear that they made the right decision to go with Jey Uso, okay? I think it was a pretty good idea. I think it was pretty good that they went in that route, okay? So for those who didn't like it, those who thought that WWE were making the wrong decision, just go and look at how WWE presented him on Raw, and you'll see, oh, wait, they made the right decision, because he got probably one of the biggest reactions of his entire career, at least of his entire singles run so far. So, yeah. He was obviously interrupted by the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther. And as far as who I think Jey Uso is going to pick, I believe it's going to be Gunther. Whether he actually defeats Gunther is going to be up to WWE Creative. But I would actually have him beat Gunther, because... But then again, also some criticism that people were saying when it came to Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble is that if he was gonna pick Gunther, then why did they run Jey Uso versus Gunther a week before the Rumble at Saturday night's main event, where Jey Uso loses clean? That was another thing that people were a little pissed off about, was that they had actually basically gave us the WrestleMania match that we could be seeing at Saturday night's main event, and the match ended in a clean win for Gunther. Like, okay, so if Jey Uso can't beat Gunther clean at Saturday night's main event, what makes us believe that WWE is going to suddenly have Jey Uso win at WrestleMania? Which is a valid concern, but I think they can pull this off. And I think after the promo exchange back and forth between the two of them, I'm already sold on this match, and it's probably more than likely going to happen. Because there's no way they could have... I mean, yes, they could have babyface versus babyface and Jey Uso versus Cody Rhodes, but that's not going to happen, because WWE does not book babyface versus babyface all too often. Sometimes they do book heel versus heel when it's necessary, like in late 2023 when Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest had a match on Monday Night Raw. They were both heels at the time, and yet they just couldn't stand each other. The match, I mean, obviously at the time, Drew McIntyre was still more than pissed off about the fact that his team lost, their team lost the Survivor Series, and obviously he was just pissed off about a whole bunch of other things, namely the Bloodline, Jey Uso, CM Punk returning. So yeah. But hey, welcome to everybody that's here. It says I got 30 people watching, and I don't think I've disabled the live chat. So if any of you guys want to leave comments in the live chats, feel free to do so. Never required. And for those of you who are here and want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It is never required. I've said this probably every time. I say this every time I go live. It's never required, but I appreciate it. I appreciate the likes if you can do it. If you can do it. Thank you, and I appreciate it. Yes, 2 likes. Can we get it to 5? Can we get it to 5? 5 likes. Can we get it to 5? I think we can. But thank you. We then also get a video. We get a video package. John Cena. Apparently, John Cena will now be in the Elimination Chamber match. He didn't even have to qualify. He just announced basically at the Royal Rumble post press conference that he's going to be in the Elimination Chamber match. Because in his words, him main eventing WrestleMania is what's best for business. Sounds a little bit heelish if you ask me when you think about it. Because someone saying that them main eventing WrestleMania is what's best for business and that there's nobody else that should be allowed to. That sounds like a heel saying that. But we'll see if John Cena's never been heel, not since Dr. Thugonomics phase. Which eventually he became a babyface because eventually he got so good that the fans just couldn't help eventually the fans just couldn't help but cheer him because he was so good at what he was doing, even though he was supposed to be a heel. But hey, I digress. We then get Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser was out there. He got a promo. He was not exactly happy about being eliminated so quickly from the Royal Rumble, which was pretty silly. It didn't break Santino's record, but it obviously he didn't last no more than a few seconds in the Rumble, which is he should have lasted longer. Should have lasted at least a few minutes in the Royal Rumble just to make it look like his elimination wasn't a joke. But yeah, he had some harsh words for Penta, who then came out, and then we got a match between them. Apparently. And then we got a match between them, so Penta's third official match in WWE, fourth if you count the Royal Rumble, but I'm only counting singles matches. So his third singles match in WWE, all 3 so far have been against great talent. First Chad Gable, then Pete Dunne, now Ludwig Kaiser. This match lasted about 13 minutes, and it was a very good back and forth match, but obviously Penta won the match because Penta's the new guy, and you gotta build up the new guy, basically. Every single guy that's been moved up to the main roster, or has debuted from another company, they immediately get the star treatment, and they immediately get a mini push just by getting a few wins on TV. And Penta lasted a pretty good sizable amount of time in the Royal Rumble match before getting eliminated. Even though there was a controversy early on when it looked like at one point Penta's feet did touch the floor. Maybe it was supposed to be a Shawn Michaels-like moment where one foot touched the floor but the other one didn't. But it did look like maybe both feet touched. I don't know, but hey, it is what it is. Penta lasted a good time in the Royal Rumble. Should be good. But hey. Danny, hello. I know my voice probably doesn't sound perfect or doesn't sound like it normally would, but I'm having a suspicious feeling that I might be coming down with something, like a flu or something. Yeah. That's another thing. That's another thing that people were just PO'd about when it came to the Royal Rumble, is that WWE continuously feels the need to give Charlotte Flair the spotlight. And I don't know if it's because Charlotte Flair demands it, or whether WWE just feels like she deserves it because they think she's that good, when she really isn't. She's good when she wants to be. She can be great when she wants to be. But most of the time, she just phones it in, and it's like, dude, can we? Because like her promo on Raw was just a complete mess. She came out there. I'm just gonna do this now. Talk about this now while I'm talking about it. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, but I'll just talk about it now while I'm talking about it. Like Charlotte Flair, her promo on Raw, she came out, tried to cut a babyface like promo, where she just talked about her injury and how she missed the WWE fans, but the people started booing instantly because they already knew what she was trying to do, and they were like, "No, no, no, we are not gonna take." Oh yeah, I did see where Matt was still sick, so he didn't go live yesterday. So, but hey, I found someone else to live stream SmackDown that I was able to watch theirs. But hey, Charlotte Flair is, I think, plays a heel better than a babyface. So I'm just, yeah. They tried to get her over as a babyface on Raw, and it just wasn't going to work. And it didn't work, and it wasn't going to. I'm so glad that she cut a heel promo on last night's Friday Night SmackDown. And I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely the Charlotte Flair that we need going into WrestleMania, going up against Tiffany Stratton, which is, I'm sure, the match they're going with, which will be good, But the other problem that I'm going to have with this, if she does choose Tiffany Stratton, is will Charlotte Flair lose to Tiffany Stratton? Or will WWE have her lose to Tiffany Stratton, because we all know what WWE thinks of her, giving her the Royal Rumble win and all. I would have done Io Sky as the winner of the Royal Rumble, because we already have gotten teases for Rhea versus Io at WrestleMania. Now, obviously, Io could still enter the Royal Rumble Elimination Chamber, get her WrestleMania match against Rhea that way, but I would have had Io win the Royal Rumble and have Charlotte Flair work to get a. But then again, she also could have done the John Cena John Cena route and just declare for the Elimination Chamber match, and not even have to qualify for it at all, which honestly would make sense given Charlotte Flair's character and given that she's a entitled heel who thinks that she's owed everything in WWE, which she isn't, but that's her character, and I'm okay with it. After this match between Ludwig and Penta, we go backstage, and Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor is backstage with the Judgment Day. Finn Balor is not happy because ever since his street fight with Damian Priest, he's been out for a while, and it just seems like Judgment Day has been failing to do anything right as of late. He blames Dominic Mysterio for losing the tag team title match last week against the War Raiders, and he accused Dominic of stealing his tag team partner in JD McDonough. Yeah, I think they're potentially running a storyline where Finn Balor gets booted from the group. But then again, who rises up and becomes the next leader? Because we all know that even though Finn Balor said that there were no leaders in Judgment Day when he kicked out Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, that's all he's ever acted like since booting them out, is a leader who wants to be the one in control and wants to control everything and wants to boss everyone around and tell everybody, do this, and we'll win. But then most of the time they lose, and then he gets mad when they lose. It's like, why didn't you listen to me? Yeah, well, we did, and we still lost. Listen to Finn and you win. Well, listen to Finn and you lose, apparently, because that's all Judgment Day has been doing as of late. But then Dominic Mysterio told Finn that he was able to get Finn Balor an Elimination Chamber qualifying match next week. Now, I don't know who it will be against, but we should be able to figure out. But we'll see who it's against next week, this upcoming Monday. Then we get the New Day. New Day are out there. New Day come out. They talk about how they were excluded from the Royal Rumble match this year, which is, I'm not going to lie, I watched the Royal Rumble. I watched the Royal Rumble all throughout, from the women's Royal Rumble to the 2 out of 3 falls match, Cody Rhodes, the match with Cody Rhodes, the women's Royal Rumble match, and I totally forgot. Up until the New Day made it clear that they weren't in the Royal Rumble match and they were snubbed from the Rumble match and they were mad about that. I was like, wait a minute. I totally forgot that I didn't see the New Day. I mean, Kofi Kingston's been in the Royal Rumble match since 2009. His first Rumble match was 2009. It's 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. Kofi Kingston has been in 15 straight. Well, not 15 straight Royal Rumbles, but 15 Royal Rumble matches, excluding 2021, because he was out with an injury, I think. At that time, he was out with an injury. He came back and eventually, and they won. Him and Xavier won the Raw Tag Team titles from the Hurt Business at that time, so he's been to 15 Royal Rumble matches, which I'm pretty sure is one of the top 3 or top 2 in overall Royal Rumble match appearances. Kane, I'm pretty sure, number 1. Miz, I know, is up there at 2, because he's been around just as long as Kofi Kingston. But hey, this led to a match between the New Day and the LWO. This match lasted about 13 minutes, and it was a pretty good match. Logan Paul eventually came out there as well. I think they were in Cleveland, but they were... Oh, and New Day decided to throw some shade at Cleveland fans, at Browns fans, and I didn't even know this. I didn't even know this had happened. But I was watching a live stream of someone who was live streaming it. I think it was Conman167. It was either him or Santi Zap, or whatever, one of those two. And Kofi decided to poke some fun at the Cleveland Browns for Myles Garrett leaving the Browns. And I'm like, oh God, they're heels. They're good heels. I'm sure and they got booed instantly for that. Like, instantly. Like, Cleveland Browns, Cleveland, you don't mess with Browns fans. Like, yeah, the Browns, they suck. I'm just going to say it. They have not been good for years. But Myles Garrett, every time I would watch a Cleveland Browns game, Myles Garrett was by far one of the best players they ever had ever since he signed with them. So I was like, oh man, that's definitely going to get heel heat, and it did. Obviously, the New Cleveland Logan Paul at one point came out to watch the match. He at one point even caused a distraction, which allowed the New Day to win the match. And hey, it is what it is. Good for the New Day to get a win. After this, we got backstage. Io Sky is getting ready for her Elimination Chamber qualifying match against Liv Morgan. Rhea comes in and says Rhea comes in to focus. Io says to Rhea, I'm going to be facing you at WrestleMania. Then after Rhea walks away, Liv comes in and just starts attacking Io. Rhea then comes back in to focus. And then Raquel starts attacking Rhea. And so that's how that segment ends. And then we go into Liv Morgan versus Io Sky. It's a elimination chamber qualifying match between Lynn and Io Sky. This lasted about 14 minutes. Interesting that this match lasted that long. And it was a really good match. Really good match. And it is what it is. It lasted. The match ending though was kind of weird because Rhea at one point decided to come out at the end of the match. She was obviously a little pissed off that Raquel and Liv attacked her backstage. They're teasing a rematch between the two of them, between Liv and Rhea, which I don't think is going to happen. It shouldn't, because that feud was like, it started out good, but then it just became bland immediately. But it is what it is. But that she actually got Liv, but she got Io disqualified by putting her hands on Liv accidentally, I'm sure. But so that means that Liv Morgan is in the Elimination Chamber match. Now, as far as Io Sky, WWE could obviously do a last chance battle royal situation where she gets a second opportunity. I mean, they did it last year with Raquel Rodriguez entering a last chance battle royal to determine the last entrant for the women's elimination chamber match. She won, and she got into the match. I mean, as soon as she entered the ring, I just knew she was going to win that match, and she did. So, yeah, good match, just the ending was a little weird. They could have had, I mean, even if they were going to have Liv Morgan win, they could have at least had her win clean. But then again, this also does sort of, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with this. If they're going to. Now, I already talked about the Charlotte Rhea situation, so I don't need to talk about that. We then get a CM Punk interview. He is talking about his upcoming Elimination Chamber qualifying match in the main event. CM Punk versus Sami Zayn. He had some words about Sami not being on his level and whatnot. You know, typical CM Punk stuff. It is what it is. We then get a video package, a video for a women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match scheduled for next Monday Night Raw, which is this Monday. It will be Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. So if Lyra wins this match, which I don't know if she's going to, but it would be kind of nice to see her actually win the match and get into the Elimination Chamber match, which would be a nice refresher because we don't really need to see Bayley even look like she can get another opportunity at the women's title just yet. Next Saturday, a week from today, will be NXT Vengeance Day. We will get a triple threat match between Julia, Bayley, and Roxanne Perez, and that match will probably serve as Roxanne's last official NXT match before jumping up to the main roster. But hey, I think Lyra should win this match. But who knows? They might have Bayley win because they want the Elimination Chamber matches to be stacked with top talent. Even though Lyra is a pretty decent talent, they just might not see that she's ready for this type of match just yet. Well, she's not going to win anyway, so why not? We then get backstage. We get a segment with Adam Pearce is announced that it is now official. AJ Styles is now officially a part of the Raw roster again for the first time, and I'm sure in a long time. Not since like 2021, 2022, maybe. I think it was 2022 was the last year we officially saw him on the Raw roster. But hey, great to see him back. Great to see him back from his injury. But hey, It is what it is. We think it's. Hey, thanks, Jeffrey. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing my live stream. But hey, after this, we got Michael Cole. He had an announcement to make as far as Roman Reigns is concerned. He announced that Roman Reigns will be out for a number of months, for an undisclosed amount of time, following the double curb stomp that Seth Rollins performed on him at the Royal Rumble, following the elimination of Roman Reigns. CM Punk at one point eliminated both Roman and Seth at the same time. Then, almost immediately, Logan Paul eliminated Seth, eliminated Punk, which then led to Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk all getting into a brawl with Roman eventually getting curb stomped by Seth Rollins on the steel ring step. Curb stomp, but this time Seth decided to use both of his feet to do it with. Usually he only does it with one foot. This time he did it with 2 feet. A double-footed curb stomp, and that, I'm sure that had to hurt. But hey, it should be okay. It should be good to go in time for WrestleMania now. The WrestleMania match for Roman Reigns is looking like this. A triple threat between Roman Reigns, between him, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk. Should be good. We then get Seth Rollins out there. He is there to talk about Roman Reigns. He has some words for Roman Reigns. He also has some words for CM Punk. Then Sami Zayn comes out because the match between him and CM Punk is up next. Seth Rollins amps him up a little bit, sort of telling him, you have to beat CM Punk. Come on, I know you can do it. Then we get the match between CM Punk and Sami Zayn. This match lasts about 17 minutes, and it was a great match. CM Punk won, which I almost knew was going to happen, but hey, it is what it is. CM Punk won. Good for him. After the match, though, we got Kevin Owens. He came out and just decided, you know what, I'm just going to hit the package pile driver on Sami Zayn. Now he's out for a period of time. I'm guessing they're going to have this match take place at Elimination Chamber, maybe. I could see them running this match in Elimination Chamber. Although I thought this match might take place at WrestleMania. But hey, it's a great addition to the WrestleMania, to the Elimination Chamber card. But that is what it is. Monday Night Raw was a great show. If I had to rate Monday Night Raw, I would give it a 7 out of 10. It was a really good show. Not perfect. No show is perfect. But it was a really good show, so I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Now on to Tuesday. Tuesday and NXT. NXT began with a match between Stephanie Becker, who is the number 1 contender for Fallon Henley's Women's North American title. That match will take place at Vengeance Day. So on this episode, she went one-on-one with Fatal Influences, with another member of Fatal Influence, that being Jacy Jayne. This match lasted around 11 minutes, and it was a very good match, very decent match. Stephanie Becker was able to get the win despite obvious interference and distractions from the other members of Fatal Influence, that being Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley. So she got the win clean, although with some interference and distractions from Fatal Influence, so it's not like her win was completely clean. But a win is a win. After this, we went backstage and we had Sol, Ruka, and Zarya. Zarya was a little ticked off that Lash and Jakara were talking so much, had hyped themselves up so much to being the ones to take the tag titles away from Naomi and Bianca, only for them to lose the titles. And this didn't sit well with Ash and Jakara. And at the same time, Tatum Paxley and her group, or Chemical X, I'm guessing is what they're called, they were in the locker room too. They stepped in, and this leads to the two of them getting a match. This then leads to Soruka, Elise Zarya, challenging Gigi and Tatum to a tag team match between her and Soruka. It is what it is. We then also go backstage. We go backstage again to Stax, who's with the members of the family: Tony D'Angelo, Luca Crucifino, and Ariana Rizzo. He's getting ready for a match against Ridge Holland. He decides to remind Tony that he wasn't there for them last week. That he wasn't there for him and Luca last week. I don't know why he's like acting like he needs Tony D by his side at all times, even during his matches. Well, they lost last week, so I can understand why he feels like he needs Tony D there all the time, because without him there, there's a good chance that the family loses a match or two. But then Tony D is also like, dude, you've been the underboss for over 2 years now. I mean, you need to fight these battles on your own without my help. You can't always expect me to be there to bail you out. That's basically what this little storyline is for Stax. He's basically having to fight certain matches on his own without help from Tony D. Done with my drink. See if anybody else. Hey Austin. If you guys want to hit that like button, feel free to do so. It's not required, but it is appreciated. And we got the 5 likes. Yeah, we got the 5 likes. I appreciate it. Now can we get to... Oh, thanks, Austin. But if you guys... Can we now get this up to 10 likes? 10 likes. It would be so dope. Probably not going to happen, but it would be so dope. Then we get Stax versus Ridge Holland. This is a squash match. 3 minutes. Didn't do much. It was just there. Stax went after Ridge early, but then Ridge obviously got the advantage. And he won in 3 minutes. Is what it is. After this match, we go Oba Femi's backstage. He's being interviewed, leading into the main event match, which is a tag team match between him and Trick Williams versus A-Town Down Under, the classic wrestling trope of can they coexist? Spoiler alert, they could not. Then we get a tag team match. Sol, Ruka, and Zarya versus Gigi Doland and Tatum Paxley. This match, while not as short as the Stax Ridge Holland match, was also not that much of a long match. It lasted just over 5 minutes. And it is what it is. If I'm not mistaken, So Ruka and Zarya actually did win this match despite some miscommunication problems between them in the match. But hey, a win is a win. A win is a win. We go backstage, and we got Ava. She's backstage with both Javon Evans and Ethan Page with a bunch of security. I'm guessing she does not want anything to happen, no brawl to start, and that's exactly what she basically said. I don't want either of you throwing punches tonight. Ethan Page mockingly said, "Oh, I'll be on my best behavior. Oh, I'll be on my best behavior tonight. Tonight, yeah." She made it, and she made this match official for Vengeance Day, but she gave Javon Evans an ultimatum. First, you have to be cleared to wrestle, because so far you haven't been cleared. The last 2 weeks you've come out here and attacked Ethan Page. You have not been cleared to wrestle. Not since he broke your jaw late last year, and I think it was like December. In December, he hasn't been. We've seen him now for the last 3 weeks, but it's like, yeah, it is what it is. Then we get a, oh yeah, after the Stacks. Oh wait, oops. Because after the Stacks versus Ridge match, we we actually go to a commercial break because we get a hype video for Lexus King. He's coming out to talk about the Heritage Cup. We go to commercial break, come back. He's out there talking about him winning the Heritage Cup, defending it successfully, and he also starts talking about his father. As we all know, Brian Pillman Jr., and he's now officially embracing his heelness. He's now basically decided, you know what? I'm just gonna stop trying to not be my father, because I'm just realizing that that's not getting me anywhere. Being nice got me nowhere, and only when I started to be. So basically, that's what he decided to do. He decided that he's just gonna be just like his father, Loose Cannon. He's gonna be a heel, and he also had an announcement to make as far as the Heritage Cup rules are concerned. He's just gonna strip away all the rules, all the rounds, the time differentials, the clock, everything about it, and and this cup will now be defended just like any other championship, one fall to a finish. Out comes someone that I did not expect to see. Former WWE superstar Fandango, or as Chris Jericho mockingly referred to him as Fandumnuts, Fandango Head, Fandingoing, or how, whatever I know he said like multiple funny versions of his name, but I can't remember all of them. But yeah, Fandango. Now going by the name of JDC in TNA. So I was shocked. And now next week on NXT, we have a match. Lexus King versus JDC, formerly known as Fandango, for the NXT Heritage Cup Championship. And I don't know if they're going to actually use the new rule that Lexus King basically made, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens. After the Ethan Page, Javon Evans segment, we got Easy Dane is backstage with the rest of the family. She tried to get involved in the Ridge Holland match earlier, but just it didn't work out as good as the previous one time. She had the idea for a steel cage match between Ridge Holland and Tony D'Angelo for the NXT North American Championship, and that match will take place next week. Whether it's in the main event or not, I feel like it should, because it's a title match, and I just don't know where else they would put it except in the opener. After this, we get a women's summit. We got the three women that will be in the triple threat match for the NXT women's title. First, we got Bayley coming out. Then we had Roxanne Perez, and they went back and forth on the mic. Then Julia comes out and is like, Roxanne, shut up. And then she even decides to tell Bayley, I will beat you too. Then, oh god. Then all of a sudden, Charlotte Flair comes out and is like, and is all like, NXT is my home and stuff. And she basically confirmed that she was going to be going over or going to all brands to look at all the women's world champions to see which one she would like to challenge. And I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Had to squash a stink bug. Ugh. But hey, it is what it is. It was a good segment. We got Kalani Jordan versus Carmen Petrovic. This match lasted just about 8 minutes, and this match ended pretty interestingly. I mean, Kalani Jordan seemingly got the win, but afterwards she just started attacking on Carmen some more, and this led to the referee reversing the decision. So I'm guessing we're seeing a slow but sure heel turn from Kalani Jordan. Also, just given the fact that she was wearing pretty much some rather mature makeup, like dark color. I guess the lipstick she was wearing was a really dark color, and she was definitely looking more mature, and she was obviously a lot more aggressive this week than I've seen her before. So I think it's clear what they're maybe doing with her, and that they're slowly turning her heel, which might be good for her because I think there's only so much a babyface can do before the audience just stops caring. Unless you're one of those rarefied people like Jey Uso maybe, or Cody Rhodes, or one of those baby faces that just can't be booed no matter how much they try to be bad. But we then go to the main event, 8-Town Down Under versus Oba Femi and Trick Williams. This match went exactly how I thought it was going to go. This match went down exactly how I thought. Can they coexist? Spoiler alert, they couldn't. Obviously, Oba Femi and Trick Williams, at times during the match, wanted to be the one out there getting the offense in on 8-Town Down Under, and eventually their stubbornness and unwillingness to cooperate with each other led to them losing, with Trick Williams being pinned. Obviously, Oba Femi didn't get pinned because he's the champion and he shouldn't be pinned. Like, never. At least until he drops the NXT title. Who, I don't know. That was NXT. It was a good show this week. It was a good show this week. Maybe not the best show, but it was a good show this week. I will give it a 7 out of 10 because it was good. Pretty good. Now we get AEW Dynamite. It was okay, but it was just that. Okay. The opening saw Will Ospreay. He decided he was having a match against a member of the Don Callis family, and he's already faced Brian Cage. And given the fact that Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher were to have a match, were in a tag team match later on in the show against Hounds of Hell, Buddy Matthews and Brody King, I was wondering who it was going to be. They could have done Lance Archer, and also apparently, from what I understand, Trent Beretta is still technically listed as a member of the Don Callis family, but they decided to swerve us and they decided to go with Mark Davis, which makes literally no sense other than the fact that he's friends with Kyle Fletcher. It makes no sense, but but I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. But this match lasted about 13 minutes, which is surprising because I didn't think this match should have lasted that long. Maybe about 9 minutes or so, just to make sure that this match doesn't feel like it's going on too long, but that it also doesn't feel like a squash. Because we all knew Will Ospreay was winning this match, but we also didn't want to feel like WWE was just squashing the newest member of the Don Callis family right off the bat. But the fact that they made this a 13-minute match is beyond me. They could have given They could have given the tag team match between Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, and the Hounds of Hell. They could have given that match a few extra minutes and then tacked off some time from Will Ospreay and Mark Davis. Like, seriously, I don't get what AEW's deal is. After this, we get a segment involving the Hurt Syndicate. Now, as of today, it's been made official that Cedric Alexander is no longer with WWE. Apparently, WWE decided to fire some people last night. One of them being Cedric Alexander, and now that Cedric will be a free agent within 90 days, I totally see him going over to AEW, rejoining the Hurt Syndicate, so that way we get a full-on Hurt Business reunion in AEW. Because as of right now, we only have 3 out of the 4 members. Cedric Alexander is now the 4th member, and now that he's gone, he can go over to AEW. He'll be a great addition to the group, obviously. And hey, and maybe at some point that'll get Bobby Lashley freed up. It'll free Bobby Lashley up to be a singles guy, because I feel like as good as I know Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are going to be most likely in this tag team, I feel like Bobby Lashley is going to have to eventually be the singles guy in AEW when it comes to the group. But yeah, they got interrupted by the Guns, Austin and Colton Gunn, who have been out for a considerable amount of time. They're a good addition to the AEW tag team division, and so we go after them. They call out their syndicate for a match against the AEW tag team for the AEW tag team championships, and we're going to be getting that match next week on Dynamite. Yay! The Guns come back only to lose a match for the AEW tag team titles. Great. You could have at least built them up over the next 2-3 weeks, over the next maybe 2 weeks or so, and then give them the title match. But no, you're just gonna have them return and immediately get a tag team title match the following week, only to lose because the Hurt Syndicate only just won the titles, and it makes 0 sense for them to drop the titles this soon. Another example of AEW's missteps in their tag team division, or just AEW's missteps in general, because there's a lot of them. We also get MJF. We got MJF coming out. He cuts a promo, a basic heel promo. Now apparently we got Dustin Rhodes, who decided to intervene and to sort of call out MJF. And this is now been confirmed for a match this upcoming, I think it's this Tuesday on AEW. So apparently AEW is going to be going head to head with NXT again for the 3rd time. And we all know who's going to win that battle. NXT. But yeah, and from what I have now heard, it seems as though they've dropped the MJF Jeff Jarrett storyline, which in my eyes isn't even that much of a bummer because I think Jeff Jarrett, while he's good, he should not be facing MJF ever in a match. At least Dustin Rhodes can still give great matches when he is told to. And this makes more sense than Jeff Jarrett. But whether or not they keep Jeff Jarrett going after the AEW World Title is we'll see what happens there. But this was a really good promo from Dustin Rhodes, as he always does. Then we get a tag team match: Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher versus Hounds of Hell, Buddy Matthews and Brody King. This was actually a great tag team match, a really good tag team match between four great people. Lasted about 11 minutes, and it was okay. It was good. Hounds of Hell won the match. Okay. Afterwards, though, Buddy Matt Kazuchika Okada came out to basically stare a hole through Buddy Matthews. Obviously, at Grand Slam Australia, they'll be having a match for the Continental Championship. I'd say Kazuchika Okada wins. Now, obviously, they're having a sit down, a bit of a face to face tonight on Collision, which I don't know how that's going to go because I'm not going to watch it because I can't, obviously. After this, we get a women's match. Toni Storm versus Queen Aminata. Well, this is timeless Toni Storm. But apparently, with Mariah May, with the glamour of Mariah May on commentary, but then Toni Storm decided to pull a rabbit out of her hat and decided that tonight she was not going to be rocker Toni Storm. She wasn't going to be timeless Toni Storm. She was going to be the glamour Toni Storm. She decided to cosplay as Mariah May on AEW television. I'm like, oh my goodness. No. She is Toni Storm, best women's wrestler in AEW right now. Character wise, in ring wise, she is the best. Nobody can touch her. There may be one or two, but you can't really, not much to say. This match lasted about 7 minutes. It was okay. It didn't need to happen, but it was okay. And I'm actually it's interesting that they've had her out there since reverting back to Time with Toni Storm. They've had her come out in segments or in matches now twice, but they haven't used. But they're waiting. I'm guessing they're waiting to use her theme song for the Grand Slam Australia show, which will probably be the first time we've heard it since All In Wembley. Which is obviously when the music hits, it'll be a huge moment when her theme hits. When her official timeless Toni Storm theme hits, it'll be a big pop. But yeah, after this, we got the main event, which was Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet. This match lasted about 11 minutes. It was an okay match, actually, and Ricochet got the win via the Spirit Gun after some underhanded tactics early on in the match. It is what it is. Good match. Didn't really need to go as long as it did, but hey, it is what it is. It was an okay episode of Dynamite. I would give it a 6 out of 10. Just okay. The opener didn't need to be as long. The tag team match between Don Callis family and Hounds of Hell were good. We got Toni Storm versus Queen Aminata, which was okay. And Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet, which was good. So, hey, 6 out of 10, not bad. Now on to Friday Night SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown again started out with Jey Uso. He is the winner of the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match. He came out there to basically call out Cody Rhodes because there's obviously that chance that he might want to choose Cody at WrestleMania, which I don't think is going to happen. But hey, this match just went about as well as you would think. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga decided to interrupt proceedings and they started attacking. This led to a match being made in the main event. Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, former tag team champions, by the way, going up against Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga in the main event. The first match of the night was Bianca Belair and Piper Niven. This is an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. This match lasted just over 7 minutes, and it was a very good match, as you would expect from Piper and Bianca. Bianca won, which I didn't think was ever in any doubt. But hey, it is what it is. But hey, it is what it is. Good for Bianca. She's now in the Elimination Chamber, along with Liv Morgan. Then we get Carmelo Hayes. He's backstage with Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis has a match scheduled for him tonight against the person he took out of the Men's Royal Rumble match, apparently. Akira Tozawa. Great. Who asked for this? I'll tell you who. Nobody asked for this. It makes somewhat sense in a storyline wise because Carmelo Hayes decided to take out Akira Tozawa from entering in the Royal Rumble match. Tozawa obviously wants a little bit of payback on Carmelo Hayes. So it makes sense, but we didn't need it. We then get Pretty Deadly. Well, DIY is out there next. We get DIY. They're out there celebrating their win at the Royal Rumble in their 2 out of 3 falls match. Pretty Deadly then come out to interrupt, to say that they think they should have a shot at the tag team titles because of all the stuff that they did to help DIY retain those titles. DIY isn't happy about Pretty Deadly coming out there and spoiling and interrupting them. But then Nick Aldis comes out and says, you know what? Even though I don't think you two, talking to Pretty Deadly, although I don't think you two deserve a shot at the titles just yet, I'd like to give you the opportunity to earn a shot at the titles. And he decided that the match between Pretty Deadly and DIY would happen right now. So apparently we got DIY versus Pretty Deadly, with DIY having to wrestle in the clothes that they were already wearing. Great. Name the last time we've had that happen, where a tag team is forced to wrestle, or where anybody is forced to wrestle in street clothes, in the clothes that they're wearing at that moment, even if it's not their actual wrestling gear. We've seen it done a couple times, but hey, this match lasted just over 3 minutes, and Pretty Deadly won via a roll-up, and it's like, okay, we didn't need this. Could have easily given this to the Street Profits, who came back seemingly wanting the tag team titles, but obviously we didn't get that. We got a video package for them instead, so which was actually very, very good. So that's some consolation prize, but yeah, we didn't need this. And the tag team champions losing this way didn't need to happen anyway. Didn't need to happen either. Then we go and we get Kameto Hayes versus Akira Tozawa. About 7 minutes, which is a lot longer than I thought this match should have lasted. But Carmelo won, which I knew had to happen, because if he lost to Akira Tozawa, then it would have meant the end of his career on SmackDown, because he wouldn't. Because when you lose to Akira Tozawa, you're basically dead. Your character's dead. There's no coming back from a loss to Akira Tozawa, because nobody should be losing to Akira Tozawa ever. Akira Tozawa should only be there to lose. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. We got after this we got a video package, a hype video for Damian Priest, Jacob Fatu, and Braun Strowman, who will apparently be colliding in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match next week on SmackDown. Now, as far as who takes the pin, I totally believe that it's going to be Braun Strowman. But as far as who wins, that's up in the air because I actually don't know. They could go with Damian Priest. They could go with Jacob Fatu. Either one, I'm going to be happy, regardless. Obviously, we got the Street Profits video package. We then get Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. Charlotte Flair's out there. She's talking about Royal Rumble, her Royal Rumble win, how she went to Raw and saw Rhea Ripley again. She went to NXT to see if Julia was worth the hype, and she obviously knows that she is now, basically. And now she's here on SmackDown to see if Tiffany Stratton is all as hyped up as she's been. And Tiffany Stratton comes out. They basically go back and forth about how Tiffany Stratton basically says that she's been compared to Charlotte Flair on more than one occasion, which honestly that would be a good comparison. It would be you would be stupid if you didn't consider the similarities. They both perform a moonsault, even though Tiffany's moonsault is obviously much more clean than Charlotte's moonsault, because Charlotte most of the time botches her moonsault. But when she does do the moonsault perfectly, it's usually very good. So, but hey, it is what it is. This match should actually be good, and this program should actually be good. But as far as who should win the match at WrestleMania, I'm going with Tiffany Stratton. Okay, you guys may think, oh, Charlotte Flair should win another title or should beat Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. Like, I don't know what you guys might be smoking, but that's not how I see it. She should not. There's no way Tiffany Stratton should lose to Charlotte Flair on any given night. I don't care how you see Charlotte Flair, how good you see Charlotte Flair, and how badly you would love to see Charlotte Flair win another title. There's no way she should beat Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. I'm sorry, but this is the way I see it. Tiffany Stratton has to win at WrestleMania. If this match does happen, she has to win at WrestleMania, because if not, then it basically just kills any and all momentum she had coming out of last year, when she was basically shot out of a cannon, basically. But we'll see what happens. I can't wait to see if Tiffany Stratton if this match actually does become official. I'm going to be interested in seeing who wins. Then we get Drew McIntyre's out there. He's talking about Cody Rhodes. Sends a warning to Cody Rhodes. This then leads to the other two guys that are going to be involved in this triple threat match come out. First Jimmy Uso, then LA Knight. LA Knight cuts a hell of a promo about how he feels like Drew McIntyre. All Drew McIntyre does nowadays is just whine and cry and complain about things not going his way. And he also even throws some shade at Drew McIntyre by saying that I had to get sorry about that. Sorry about this promo. I just had to get my spot in, which was a direct reference to the Royal Rumble match, where apparently Drew basically made it made it clear that LA Knight had to get some spots, quote unquote spots in on Logan Paul, which then led to Drew McIntyre being unceremoniously eliminated a lot sooner than he was apparently supposed to be. That was pretty good. This match lasted about 13 minutes, and it was a great match. It honestly should have been the main event. Not to saying the main event match wasn't good, but it wasn't. But it wasn't that good. But Drew McIntyre won, so it is what it is. He won. Good for him. The ending was LA Knight attempting a BFT on Jimmy Uso, with Drew McIntyre hitting a Claymore kick out of nowhere. LA Knight basically gets the BFT on Jimmy Uso anyways, but obviously he got Claymore kicked, which led to Drew McIntyre getting the 1, 2, 3. Good for him. I don't think he's going to win the Elimination Chamber, but it would be interesting. We also in the Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton promo exchange, Nia came out, basically made it official that she and Tiffany will have a match next week for the Women's Championship. And so, obviously, Tiffany's going to win that match. Candice LeRae is out there as well. And then this leads to Alexa Bliss coming out. Obviously, Alexa Bliss has a match, Elimination Chamber qualifying match against Candice LeRae. This segment bled into that match. It lasted about 9 minutes. Really decent match. At one point, though, there were a few glitches, quote-unquote glitches on the screen that were legitimate, and they were obviously like Wyatt Six-esque glitches, and this has led a lot of people to think, okay, she's going to be in the Wyatt Six or have a program with the Wyatt Six. Yeah. And also, when she used her finishing move to win the match, the commentators, especially I think it was Joe Tessitore, called it the Abigail DDT. Basically, what it is almost like a modified version of Sister Abigail, which almost makes that also should just make it pretty clear as to what the direction is going to be for Alexa Bliss, and it's going to be Alexa Bliss either in the Wyatt Six or having a program with the Wyatt Six. Just so you know. The main event, Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. Obviously, standard Bloodline versus Babyfaces match, tag match. Babyfaces win. It is what it is. Nothing special. When about 12 minutes, at the end of the match, the end of the night, actually saw Solo Sikoa come out of nowhere to Samoan Spike Cody Rhodes. Oh, great. We're getting this feud again. And the first time they feuded, it wasn't exactly a hot feud to begin with. Solo, although their steel cage match on the USA Network premiere of Friday Night SmackDown on USA was actually a pretty decent match, but the feud as a whole just wasn't doing it for me and a lot of other people. But we'll see what happens next week. Friday Night SmackDown was good. I'll give it 7 out of 10. I was going to say 6.5 because there were some things that didn't need to happen. Carmelo Hayes versus Akira Tozawa, the Pretty Deadly Squash match against DIY. But other than that, nothing bad, really. So I'll just give it a 7 out of 10. But, guys, that's it. That's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I know I did. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye, guys.